Hello everyone, my name is Derek. This is the Bourbon Table, and today we're gonna show you all the bourbon at WineWorks in Marlton, New Jersey. All the prices, all the selection, the whole thing. And I'm gonna show you what I got there. All right, let's jump right into it. So you'll see here's the outside as you're coming into WineWorks. Let's just go right to the first shelf. First shelf we'll start off. Most of this stuff is regular stuff, but there's some really great stuff in here. I'll show you the case at the end, but right out of the gate, you do see on the top shelf, left right here, some private selection, some special stuff, Maker's Mark. That stuff was around, I think $70 and $80. That's a good price for that. You can see they've got the Michter's. All that stuff is really good. All that Michter's stuff is really good. The US 1 bourbon and the rye, they're probably my two favorites. Let's look at the next shelf down. The only thing that really jumps at me here is this Maker's Mark the Brave. This is a special edition for America's 250th anniversary. Happy birthday, America. That one is 110.5 proof. I expect it's going to be delicious. Maker's Mark. Man, it's hard for me to think of a time that Maker's Mark did not do the job for me. I was going to say hit the mark, but Maker's Mark definitely hit the mark. Okay. All right, and on that shelf, if you look across, fine stuff, nothing special. The labels that have the red background are discounted. Just to give you an example here of this, Jefferson's Reserve, Pritchard Hill, Cabernet cask finish. You can see there it's regular prices, $74.99 on sale for $69.99. That's what the red means. These folks at WineWorks seem to be pretty good merchants. They let you know what you're saving. You can see the shelves are tidy, easy to shop. Let's go to the next shelf. You've got Four Roses there. If you look towards the bottom here, you have a couple of their single barrels. Hard to tell. One is, so one is, looks like VS, one is VW. Decent prices on that. The rest of the stuff, I would say the Wild Turkey Rare Breed Rye for $73. It's not high, but it's definitely not a value there. I've seen that for cheaper. And then we get to the next shelf down, Muck Alive. Never had that. Not sure about that one. The Heaven Hill, Heaven Hill's a good barometer because that's everywhere, so I like to look at that in terms of pricing. $47 is fine. $45, $44.99, that's a pretty good price. I have seen it as low as right at $40, which is better price to see. You can see the Henry McKenna 10-year is $10 off at $58.98. It's a great bottle, but $59 is still higher than it should be for a value purchase. And then looking across there, look at the bottom. I was looking for the Old Granddad 114 single barrel. They don't have it. They have the regular Old Granddad 114 and not all the Old Grand, because they don't have the 7-year Old Granddad as well. They don't have that down there. But that's their bottom shelf in the first section. So a couple interesting things there. Let's go to the next shelf. Going across the top, you have a Buffalo Trace Kosher for $69.99. That's probably a fair price. It's not, maybe it's a little high, but it's fine. It's fair. It's not a great price, but it's fine. There's no price on the Whistle Pig 12. I've kind of seen that all over the place a little bit. And then going across there, you've got the Bacta 1928. We got that one. Big surprise or early reveal, whatever you want to say it, but we got the Bacta 1928, which is a rye and a Calvados casks and Armagnac cask. I tried that. It's really good. $61.99 for that, as you can see right here, is a really good price. It retails for $69.99. It usually is higher than that around me, so $61.99 is fantastic. And then we go to the next shelf. Nothing in particularly special there, bullets, etc. Basil Hayden. And then you get to the next shelf. Again, nothing particularly good there. I guess the one thing to note here is 1792s are pretty good, really good. You've got the single barrel for $80, way too high. That should be $50 at most. And then you've got the bottle and bond. That's $50 on sale from $60. That's, if you don't have it, that's a fine price. If you need it, that's a fine price. The $60 is too high. I mean, you can even get a good idea of pricing at WineWorks by looking at the Jack Daniel's Blackberry at $32.99. That I see under $30 in a lot of places. All right, we go to the next shelf right here on the corner. Bowman Brothers for $34.99. Here in PA, we can get it for $32.99 all day. I've seen it down under $30. Then you've got the bottom shelf. That very old Barton at $26.99. I've seen that at $22.99. I haven't picked that up because I'm not interested in drinking that. But for the price, that punches way above its weight. And so that would be something cool to pick up. But again, you can save a couple dollars somewhere else. You look across the bottom, you got the Dickels. And then you've got Rebels. Looking at the Dickels prices, I would say just a hair on the high side. Just a hair. Let's go to the next section. Looking across the top, there's that Bacta 1928 again. All that stuff across the top. I mean, you've got the Willet Bourbon for $51.99. I saw that for $44.99, I think the same day maybe, in another spot. That Hogsworth at $45.99, I think that's an okay price. I just haven't heard a lot of great things about Hogsworth. So I'm going to have to try that before I buy that, even at that price. The Knobs Creek 9 single barrel at $65, that's okay. And all the way here on the edge, you see Penelope at $59. That's a good price. Typically, I see that at $65. Below that, you got the Larceny barrel proof, $66. That's a good price. That's a normal price. It's not a great price. Then you've got the Knob Creek cask strength 118 proof for $65 on sale from $70. That's probably okay. Nothing special about that. And these are on sale. Looking across, yeah, the 10-year rye, $73. That's on Target, not a special price. There's the rest of the Jack Daniels. Yeah, see the regular number, old number 750 milliliters, $24.98. I've seen that cheaper. Over here on the right-hand side, the Jack Daniel's Heritage Battle, 100 proof, toasted, is $65. Yeah, I'd like to see that for less. That's not terrible, but I'd like to see that for less. Then you got your Jim Beams on sale. Prices are fine. And then looking at the bottom shelf, you've got a Long Branch there for $43.90. You call it $44. That's okay. Again, not setting the world on fire with these prices. Well, let's go to the top. You've got two interesting ones at the top here. A bunch of Miriam and Green, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Old Fitzgerald 7-year on sale for $80. Regular price looks like $110 or more. That should be $75 all day, every day. And that's what I got it for. That's retail. This is supposed to be a shelfer. With or without the bag, that should be $75. Right next to that, yeah, the Woodford Double Oak Single Barrel. This is a pick at WineWorks, 96.61 proof. So that is 6.61 proof, higher than the regular Double Oaked. $89.96, we'll call it $90. You can get the regular Woodford Double Oaked under $60. Good price would be $60 to $65. Great price is under $60, and I see it there frequently for the regular. And this is a store pick. I'm willing to pay more, but not $30 more. All right. And then looking below, and you see here, the regular is $59.98, so that's a good price. It's on sale. That's a good price. And then looking across, you've got your regular Woodford Reserves, High West, then your Evan Williams Fire. This is an interesting one. I picked this Evan Williams single barrel up at Roger Wilco, and it was cheaper. I think it was under $40. In fact, I'm sure it was under $40. Can't remember if it was $39 or $36, but that's where it was. Then you've got the flavored Jim Beams. You've got the Russell's single barrel rye, $57.98. That's a good price. Under $60 is a good price for the rye. And then the bottom shelf here, and these are not bottom shelfers. These Nashville barrels, the 6 and 7 years. The rye is $65. Can't see what the bourbon is. You know, again, a little bit cheaper. I'd like to see it a little bit cheaper. Okay. Next shelf here, you've got an interesting top shelf. You've got an Angel's Envy pick for $80. You've got the Triple Oak for $75. That's a good price. It's on sale, but that's a good price. The regular bourbon finished in port wine for $46. That's a good price. And then you've got the regular Caribbean rum cask for $78. That's a good price. So Angel's Envy, we've got on some good prices here. And then going across, Widow Jane 10-year for $80. That's high. Widow Jane 13-year for $117. That's probably in line. And that old line looks like it's $42. That's a good price. Now we're getting into the Old Foresters. I'm just scanning those prices. They seem okay. I don't see anything special here. Moving across. I mean, the 100, even the 100 proof for $31. I'd like to see that cheaper. Moving across, you've got the regular Sazerac, and that's a regular price. The handle for $60. It's a fine price. It's, I would pay that price if I was looking for a handle. Okay, bottom shelf you've got, or no, this is not bottom shelf, but next shelf you've got Elijah Craig barrel proof, $80. I'd like to see that at $75. They had a toasted rye right next to it. That is really good, but they're out of it at $60. Again, okay. So the theme here seems to be that the prices aren't gouging. They're okay, but they're not a value. And right now, the way that the bourbon market is going, I'm looking for values. Why do I say that? Because, and I did an article about this on my Patreon page, but they are, demand is going down since COVID, and COVID was a high point for all alcohol. It's been going down since then. So that's thing one. Thing two is and since demand is going down, prices were staying high. That also encouraged demand to go down. Plus also inflation and the normal market stuff. In addition to that, Canada is essentially boycotting bourbon. So now there's more product on the market. In addition to that, most distilleries have been ramping up for years to get more product out there. And right now there is I guess you would call it a glut of bourbon in barrels around the country, in Kentucky and everywhere else, Tennessee, that the supply and demand curve have shifted since COVID. It was low supply, high demand. Now it's low demand, high supply. So I am not interested in paying too much for bourbons in general, unless it's a special thing that is hard to get no matter what, but there's not a whole lot of that. So I am looking for values here. All right, the next shelf down, I don't see anything notable here. And then the next shelf down, I see these Davis County stuff around. I haven't tried that. Don't know what that is. You got Benchmark there. Benchmark full proof at $25 and single barrel at $27. Again, a couple dollars higher than I can get it elsewhere. Top shelf here, 15 stars. I haven't had those. I hear really good things about them, but I also hear that they're overpriced if you don't know what you're doing. And with that product, I haven't sampled it, so I don't know what I'm doing. I would like to try it, but I would like to try it before I buy it. Can't see the price there of those rabbit holes. The only one that I really like on those rabbit holes is that red one right there, the Derringer. That's pretty good. And then you got the Iron Smokes there at the end, cast strengths, Bottle and Bond. I haven't tried the Bottle and Bond. I would like to try that. Is that Bottle and Bond? It is Bottle. Yeah, I would like to try that. $76, a little high for Iron Smoke though. All right. You got a lot of Japanese whiskeys in there, single malts. You have a 2XO all the way on the right for $45. I haven't had too many of those. $45 seems like a good price though for them in general. Again, here's some flavored stuff. I'll just show you that in case you're interested in those prices. Let that hover there for a second. Savage & Cook is regular bourbon. Don't know much about them. Haven't tried them. Now we're going to go to the case. They have a ton of stuff in this case, ton of really, really good stuff. They're priced for it though, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And then there's stuff that's not even priced. And when they're not priced like that, it's either because they're not good merchants and they're lazy. I don't think this is the case here. I think this is the case where if you ask for it, they know you can afford it. They don't want to get into negotiations or anything like that around the price. That's my guess. I didn't talk to them. I don't know. But let's start at the top. And you see the Heaven Hill 90th for $400. That was recently online for $190. The Elijah Craig 18-year for $270. I've seen that cheaper. The 18 and 19, and then around right behind the 19, they had a 22. No prices. I'm not going to ask. All right, right here, we're going to look at this half of the case. You got the Jack Daniel's 10-year at $229. I got my first bottle of 10-year 2 years ago for $169, which is still the is that the best? That might be the best price I've seen on the 10. You've got your old Fitzgeralds there, different age statements, so different pricing. The Van Winkle, not priced. That I would guess is probably going for secondary around $800. You know, we go down here. You got the Woodford 121 at $199. I got that for less. You got a Stag at $150 on sale from $200. $150 is not a bad price. It'd be a great price a year ago. Right now, I would look for Stags at $99, $100. The Knob Creek 21 years at $221. That's actually below retail. You can see their retail $249. I got it at $212. Also at Roger Wilco. $212 is still the best price I've seen it for. And you've got your Four Roses special edition. They come out with that once a year. $400. I'm not. That's definitely secondary market. I'm not sure if that's good or not. But I certainly would not pay for that. Okay, moving down. These High West, especially a Midsummer Night's Dram, $149. That's retail. I would not spend that. Based on the reviews, I don't know if I'd pay more than $75 based on the reviews. Then we're missing something there. Don't know what that is. Next to that, you've got 1792 Cognac finish at $250. I would definitely not do that. Everything that I've seen about that particular juice right there, it's probably not worth a quarter of that price. Next to that is the 12-year, and I can't see the price there. I forget what it is. Moving down, well, let's save the bottom shelf because I have a different photo with those prices there. Here you can see where these bottles are at on the left there with E.H. Taylor. That's a single barrel for $249. My last single barrel I got also at Roger Wilco for $99. WineWorks is way too high. Next to that is a small batch at $130 on sale from $200. I haven't spent more than $70 or $80 on a small batch ever. Next to that, now, by the way, so I got the small batch in PA Fine Wine and Good Spirits, who sell products either at MSRP, maybe they mark it up $5. I'm not spending $130 when I can get it for $70 or less. Next to that, you have the Barrel Proof for $250 on sale from $300. I just got the Barrel Proof for $190 online, free shipping. And then next to that, you've got the Rye at $299. I saw that down the street from this store at Trano's for $150, so half that price. So you can see these prices are definitely coming down on some of the most sought after products. So that's why I'm waiting until I see a good price. And even sometimes when I get it at a good price, I'm wondering if the prices are going to continue to go down. Up here, yeah, I mean, this Heaven Hill Grain to Glass, $300 on sale at $200. I've seen it at $150 in PA Fine Wine and Good Spirits. Blanton Straight from the barrel is their best one. This is a 750 milliliter bottle for $500. I got the 700 milliliter bottle for, I think, $190. So that tells you where that ought to be. And then right next to that, and they don't have any, you can see Blanton's Bourbon, just a regular for $109. I don't think I paid more than $80 for a regular. By the way, that's me with Bacta 1928 in my hand, ready to go. You can't see it here fully, but it's the old Granddad 16-year. I think they had it for $199. I got mine for $149, and then it was on clearance in PA Fine Wine and Good Spirits for as low as $120. Okay. Moving up here, the William LaRue Weller may be, or Buffalo Trace's best product. It's high proof, but it is delicious. Anyway, moving to that, you see that empty spot. That's a Weller's Antique Barrel Selection, store pick for $120. There was one bottle left, and that is in my other hand. I picked that up because 120 is a great price for a Weller's 107. You don't see them a lot, and when you do, it probably is that 199 regular price, but they've got it on sale for 120. So maybe WineWorks is starting to feel the pressure and adjusting their pricing. Next to that is a Weller 12-year for 189. That's probably more like a 150 price. It should be at definitely not the 280 retail they've got it for. The full proof at 250. I got that less than 200. I can't remember the price, but they've got it at basically 200. The CYPB, no price. I'm not going to ask. And next to that, they had a single barrel. That one I did ask because I had a taste of that somewhere, and it is outstanding. But they wanted 400 for that. All right, now let's switch over. Let's see if we get those bottom prices. So Peerless, that looks like the Peerless double oaked for 120. That's too high. The Cellar Aged for 500. That's too high. And they have another, I think that might be the Heart Release for 200, Maker's Mark. That's too high. And then the next one in the corner there is a Heritage. Looks like, oh man, I can't see what it is, but 550, that's too much. These are products except for the Peerless and probably the Heart Release, but the Heritage and the Cellar Aged, they're not making any more of those. They've made that year, and hopefully they'll make the next year. So they're banking on the fact that they have it and most other liquor stores don't have it, so they get to charge whatever they want to charge, so to speak. But we'll see how that goes. Again, the market's going down. Buyers like me we're not standing for those prices. That price I would never pay for a bottle of whiskey, but they are, and we'll see if that comes down. On the other side here, you've got Orphan Barrel. You've got a Remus for 160. Actually, that Remus for 160 is probably not too bad. That Willet at 350 is too high. That should be under 300 at least. And then that last one right in the center for 250 is Elmer T. Lee. I would like to have a bottle for my collection, but everything I hear from people who have tasted it is that it is a under $50, maybe under $40. Back in the day, it was like a $25 bottle. And just because it's Buffalo Trace and because it's hard to get, people want it and are paying more for it. I don't know how much of that Buffalo Trace is actually producing, which is probably also driving the price up with that supply and demand curve. But as far as the juice inside, everything I've heard says that's nowhere near that value. If you're a collector and you just want to have it for your collection, will you pay for that? That's up to you. It would have to be well under $100 for me to grab that until I try it. If I try it and find out everybody is wrong, maybe I'll pay more for it, but not $250. All right. So that is WineWorks in Marlton, New Jersey. I would say, again, looking at it, their selection is good. They have some really good prices. The rest of their prices are okay, and they have a few that are high. But it's definitely worth going to because they may have some things that you couldn't find. Again, I picked up the Bacta 1928, and I picked up the Weller's 107. Those were both best prices I've seen. Thanks for watching. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell me if you've been here, what you think. If you shop there, if you don't shop there, would you shop there? Do you think I'm wrong about any of these prices? I would appreciate if you let me know that, because this is a particular part of the country and these prices differ as you go around the country. And then last thing, check out my Patreon page. All right, folks, see you on the next one.